Hi guys, welcome to Scott Family Homestead. Today we are going to be canning blueberries. We're going to do these in a simple syrup. It's a really easy recipe and they are really handy to have. I picked up my berries today from Tree Ripe. It's not sponsored by them or anything, but if you're in Wisconsin, I highly suggest checking them out. They are the peach truck that comes around, so they come twice a year. And on their July stops, they have blueberries as well as peaches. So we're going to be canning some peaches later this week, but for now, we're going to do the blueberries. I picked up 4 boxes. My kids have already been getting into one, so I've got 3 left here to can. Each box is 5 pounds of blueberries. They look great. There's a couple that have stems, so we're going to do some cleaning on these. Nothing too crazy, but the sooner the better. When you're canning, you got these nice fresh, firm berries, that's gonna be ideal. So this is a really simple recipe. You water bath can these. They're high acidity. It's great for beginners. If you're new to canning, this is a good one to start with. We're just going to put a little bit of light syrup into a jar. We're gonna top it off with berries, and then we'll fill it up with more syrup to a 1/2 inch headspace. And then we'll put it into the water bath for a pretty short period of time. With these, there's actually 2 methods to doing this. You can do a raw pack method or you can do a hot pack. We're gonna do raw pack. It's just a little bit easier and it works really well with these berries. We're going to put it in a hot syrup, but the berries themselves are not going to be heated before we put them in the jars and into the canner. For this, you're gonna process your pint jars for 15 minutes and your quarts for 20 and then adjust for altitude. Here we add 5 minutes. So we're gonna start. I'm going to do a canner load of quarts first. My plan with these is to make them into pie filling. Now you can make blueberry pie filling using clear gel. However, I would rather use something like an arrowroot powder, and I'm going to do that when it comes time to actually use the pie filling. It gives me a little bit more flexibility in how we use these, because if we don't want to use them as pie filling, we just have berries and syrup. And then we can add the arrowroot powder and make it into a pie filling later on, if that's what we want to do. There's also some debatable, like rebel canning things with using something other than clear gel. Technically, clear gel is the approved way to make pie filling. So since we don't want to use the clear gel, we're just gonna put the berries into a simple syrup and we'll find a way to use it down the road. So my quarts will be primarily for pies eventually. I'm going to also do pints, and those, we really like to use those for our muffins. So what happens when you can blueberries, they kind of clump together, and so you end up with a clump of blueberries. They don't keep their nice plump shape like this, so just expect that. They are gonna kind of become smaller and more wrinkled. They are perfect for muffins. I take the berries out and I put them into my muffin mix that makes 24 muffins. It's the perfect amount of blueberries. It leaves you with about a cup or just slightly less of blueberry syrup. It pulls kind of that blueberry flavoring out of those berries. And that is perfect for your pancakes or putting on top of waffles. So we kind of use each pint for 2 different things. We make muffins out of it and then also use it as a topping. So I really like the versatility of that. We're gonna go ahead and make some of those. So the first thing that we're gonna do, I'm gonna get my canner started here and get that heating. I gotta get my jars in there and get those warmed up a bit. And we're going to start making our syrup. Now for this, you can use a light syrup or a medium syrup, whichever you prefer, depending on how much sugar you want in it. We're gonna do a light syrup today. We are using, again, I use this a lot, so if you have been following me, you know that I use this Ball Home Preserving book, and they have a whole table on syrups. So a light syrup is going to be 2 1/4 cups of sugar with 5 1/4 cups of water. And while that starts to warm up, I will start cleaning up these berries. Now, I do have these in a pressure canner, but we are not going to lock this and seal it. We're just using it as a water bath. If you are interested in canning and you're debating between a water bath and a pressure canner, I would go with the pressure canner because you can also use it as a water bath. You can have the best of both worlds. So we're just gonna set that on top. I also do have my water bath. This one I'm gonna get set up with my pints. We're gonna kind of do this in batches because I need my burner to make the syrup, but we'll do this one next. This is a lot of berries, so I think I'm actually going to triple the syrup recipe. I'm gonna put it in my great big, giant stainless pot. We're gonna do 15 3/4 cups of water. Now if you're doing just a regular size batch, again, it is 5 1/4 cups of water. We're gonna add 2 1/4 cups of sugar per batch. So we're gonna do 6 3/4. And for this, I'm gonna have to open up a new bag of sugar. So I just got this from Azure. We get all of our bulk ingredients from Azure. So our flour, our sugar, all the things. We recently ran out of cane sugar. This is a 25-pound bag. With canning season, we go through a lot of sugar. We're making all of our jams and fruits for the year, so we go through a lot. So, great big bag here. Anything left over from this will go into our 5-gallon buckets, and we have a gamma lid on top, so we can easily store this for a long time. We also make all of our own brown sugar, so we use cane sugar plus molasses, and that kind of helps use this up quicker as well. The nice thing about this, it doesn't have to be super exact as long as it falls in the range of where you want to be for your sugar content. So if we add a little bit extra sugar, it's just leaning more towards a medium syrup. Medium syrup would be 5 cups of water and 3 1/4 cups of sugar. So if you want to put a little extra sugar in there, find it somewhere in the middle, that's okay too. We're going to go ahead and get this heating. We want all that sugar to dissolve, and then we can start using it to actually bottle up our blueberries right away. So while this gets heating, we'll go ahead and clean up these blueberries. I hope to someday grow enough blueberries to be able to can our own. The North Blue blueberries that we planted this year are great big berries like this. So hopefully we'll be able to start canning those in the near future. Right now my kids are just eating them. They race out there every day. It actually has become a little bit of a fight because the younger kids haven't been getting blueberries. It's like the older kids picked all of them this morning. So now they have to bring some back to share. The recipe for a canner load of berries is very vague, and that's because it's for all different types of berries. So it could be anywhere, it says from 6 to 12 pounds of berries would make a canner load. So we'll see on the blueberries how much we get out of each of these boxes. Let's just briefly talk price on this, because I know some people will ask if it is worth doing this now. These boxes were $22 each, which ends up being $4.40 a pound. I did weigh one of the boxes and it was actually slightly over 5 pounds. Right now at Walmart, I think it was 18 ounces of blueberries is $4.78 on sale. So it ends up being a little bit less than Walmart, which is pretty good. This is packed by Walker Farms in Michigan, Paw Paw, Michigan. Hand-picked. So supporting a Midwestern company for less than Walmart prices. And as you know, in the winter time, it becomes difficult to even buy berries. Number one, because of availability, but also price. You walk into Walmart or your local store and you're buying the little tiny containers of blueberries and they're gonna be much more expensive than they are right now. So come out ahead on it a little bit at least. These also freeze really well. So my normal way of preserving these, I only can them every couple of years and try to get enough to last us through. I'm not sure because now we're eating more and more canned fruit, but to freeze these, you can just lay them flat on a cookie sheet or a baking pan in a single layer, and I flash freeze them, and then I just dump them into quart-sized freezer bags, and they freeze really, really well. So if you want them to have a little bit more shape to them, a little bit more structure, you can always flash freeze them as well, rather than canning, because canning does make them a little bit soft. So this is one box. I'm just very impressed with these berries. I think because I picked them up today and they're like peak freshness right now. Just look awesome. Okay, we're all set up here. We've got stainless steel ladle for our syrup. We got my 4 jars funnel. They sent this to me and I absolutely love it. It has the depth markings on it for 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4, and 1 inch. And I have found that I use this so much. Thinking about buying another pack of them. I love this thing. Comes with a regular mouth and a wide mouth. They're awesome. I am using just some Kerr lids that I had left over. I inherited quite a few of those, and just regular old rings. Got a little spatula so we can debubble. With these, you got to be careful. You want to get all that air out and debubble your jars. We'll talk about that. Got a wet rag for rims. I think we're good to go. Almost forgot the jar lifter. Gotta have one of these. Okay, to can this up is super simple. We're going to put about 1/2 cup of our syrup in the bottom of the jar and just top it off with these berries. You can kind of shake them in. You don't want to force them in, but you can give them a little jiggle. And then we're going to go ahead and top that off with some more of the syrup. We're going for a 1/2 inch headspace. We're going to go ahead and take a bubble remover. I just use a spatula for this, but they do make tools specifically for this. Get all of those bubbles out of there. Once we have that complete, we can go ahead and wipe our rims. I'm going to put on a fresh canning lid. I'm going to put that ring on fingertip tight. So I am about ready to bring this back up to a boil. Once it hits a boil, we're going to start our timer. Quarts are 20 minutes. Like I said, we had 5. We're going to go 25 on it after it starts boiling. Then we'll let it sit in the canner for about 5 minutes after the heat is off and go ahead and pull them out. While this canner is running, I'm going to go ahead and get my pints going. I'm going to do 9 pints in there. 1 5-pound box filled 4 quarts for me. So I've used up almost 2 of our 5-pound boxes, so I think 1 canner load of pints will probably finish up the rest of it with some leftovers for eating, which the kids will be really excited about. I told them I would make them some blueberry waffles for dinner, and they are pumped. So hopefully there'll be some leftovers. This is how much I have left of the second box, and then I have a third box. So we're gonna go ahead and get some jars prepped to do that. We'll go ahead and get our quarts running. And then we'll do the pints for 15 minutes, add 5. Our pints will go for 20 minutes once they are boiling. we are cruising right along. We have both canners loaded, so 7 quarts and 9 pints. This is what is left of 15 pounds of blueberries. Probably could have filled another couple pint jars with that. And with my syrup that I made, we've got enough for maybe 1 or 2 pint jars as well, but no more room in the canners. We're gonna go ahead and get these processed. You want all of your jars covered with water when you're water bathing like this. This one's leaking just a little bit out the top. It's nice and full with the water in there. You gotta have about 1 inch of water above your jars when you're water bath canning, so make sure you got enough water in there, otherwise top it off, start your timer when it starts to boil again. So we're going pretty good over here. I'm gonna start getting my mats out and everything for pulling these jars out, and then we're gonna be just about done. It is so warm in here. I will be very happy to have these canners done, get them turned off. I always put the lids back on them when I'm done so that the hot water doesn't just keep steaming into the room. It is so warm. But projects like this are very, very worth it. Loading up the pantry. I know that Three Rivers Homestead is starting her Every Bit Counts challenge pretty soon, and that's putting up something every day for the month of August, and we're getting a little bit of a head start here, but I'm going to try to set that goal for myself as well. We've got the freeze dryer going with lots of herbs and things. Again, when it's really hot like this, it's not really worth running because you're fighting the weather the whole time. So hopefully we get some cooler nights so we can start doing stuff like that. We'll be doing a lot of evening canning projects. We do a lot of that when it is cooler outside. We can open up the windows. Dehydrating, lots and lots of ways that you can preserve food in addition to canning. So if you are interested in any of that, please make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure you hit that bell so that you're getting notifications when we post new videos. We are a channel of many trades here. We do a lot of farm things, cattle, pigs, chickens. We raise all of our meat. We also sell meat. We've got canning, freeze drying, Azure grocery hauls, all kinds of good stuff here. So make sure you are subscribed. Thank you for following along. We'll be pulling these jars out in a few minutes here, and that'll wrap this project up. I do have a canning playlist if you're interested. So we do everything from fruits to meats and everything in between. Not much of a rebel canner. You're gonna find mostly ball recipes and local extension recipes. Definitely give us a follow if that's something that interests you. Okay, this is a little lesson. So what is happening is when your temperature changes too quickly, you can get siphoning out of your jar, which is the liquid leaking out. So right now, I can see when I pull them up, they start kind of spitting the colored liquid out. What is happening is they're cooling down too quickly when they hit that air, and we're getting a little bit of that liquid coming out. Not a big deal. Does not mean one of our jars is broken. They will probably seal just fine. We'll have to see how that goes. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the lid off of this canner. I'm hoping to prevent any more of that leaking so we don't have too many floating berries in there. All right. I'll pull them off as straight as we can. Definitely leaking a little bit. Overall though, none of them leaked majorly. They're all still pretty full of liquid. Just got a little cleanup to do. Now I would rather show you this as a reality rather than showing you perfectly canned jars. I see a lot of people talking about fruit float and how to prevent it. And the reality is most people get fruit float. When you're making jams or you're canning fruit like this, a lot of times you're going to have the syrup settle out at the bottom. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is still going to be just fine for the pantry as long as they seal. If they don't, we can freeze it. We can use it soon. We can put it in the refrigerator. So we'll just see how it goes. But don't be alarmed if they leak a little bit. It's going to be okay. Now the official recommendation on this is that it has to have at least 50% of its liquid. So because we lost a little bit on the top, that's okay. Some of these look a lot better than others. We lost more liquid on these two here. The rest of them actually look pretty good. So far the pints look like they did a little bit better. Not much leaking in there, and I shouldn't have to tilt those to get them out. But we're gonna let that cool down just a little bit longer before we start pulling them out of there. Those look really good. All right, all's well that ends well. I was a little nervous on those with the siphoning. I've got 1 quart that hasn't sealed yet, but it's still pretty early. It's still very hot. All of my pints sealed, so we are good to go. Making waffles for the kids, blueberries. They're gonna love them. The blueberries just sizzling in there. And I'm gonna call it a day. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. I'm so glad you guys are here. You are such a blessing to me and my family. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye guys.